Morning, good afternoon, good evening. We bring you greetings according to your time zone. This is my cheapest channel where we bring you news, information, analysis of events making around the globe, especially in Nigeria, and more importantly as regards to the restoration of Biafra. In this video, we are bringing you information and exposition of impunity going on in the compression called Nigeria, how they commit crime with impunity. This video exposed the sitting governor who allegedly released terrorists in the prison cell without regard to the judiciary. This is what is going on in that zoo. And in this case, nobody is ready to nobody challenges them. They commit their crime, they do as they like because they are the one, they hold that belief, they hold that impression that they are the owner of the country. You see, especially this APC government led by the imposter called Buhari. Those who are in their good book, they can commit crime, they can do as they like without any challenge. They can release their terrorists, they can release their dogs they use for the election and what have you. But our leader, Mazen Nandekam, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, who have committed no crime, they will hold him, and even when the courts have ruled and charged and acquitted him, they still hold him without any crime against him, without any evidence to the allegation they laid against him. Those who call themselves governors, elders, and cultural leaders in the Eastern Nigeria continue to see all this impunity of the ruling class in Nigeria, yet they are supporting them. They want Biafrans to continue to be in that contraction, to be part of the contraction. Even when the people have rejected Nigeria, but yet they want to force the Biafran people to continue to remain part of the compression. That is why the Biafran people have taken it upon themselves that they are leaving Nigeria. There will be no election in Nigeria, and we must stick to this and maintain our ground and refuse the election, and that will be the end of it if we're able to maintain our ground of no election in Nigeria, and this will be it. Please watch to the end, like, subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. Thank you.
Something came out. The Kogi State government pretty much said that you should be made to speak to the security agencies for terrorism. What really happened as regards that? And there's been lots of back and forth as regards this, and there's a connection even to the Trademore estate. I mean, what's going on?
Thanks, Rufai, for that question. The news beats and surprised me just as you and many Nigerians. It was the morning of the 31st of October. I woke up and saw lots of calls and messages. And when I went to my WhatsApp, it was just all the papers from This Day to Punch and others. You know, some were really harsh, you know, terrorism. The Kogi State government calls on the DSS and security agencies to invite me for questioning. Some even went as high as blunt as saying I should be arrested. And having read through the story, I knew that this was something I needed to clear the air. So I went on AIT that night and channels. And I quickly started to do my research, like what exactly is Trademore? What happened at the Trademore? Who is Shafiu? And I called the people in Kogi Central, especially my PDP folks, and asked them. So then I began to gather information. But let me say this. I would appeal Nigerians to disregard that news. It holds no weight. I do not know Shafiu. I haven't met him in person. But I would also say this. As a citizen of Nigeria, Shafiu is free to decamp. Now let's stop there and I take you back a bit. Shafiu, as I gathered, was an inmate in the Kuje prisons up until 2018, where Governor Yahaya Bello granted him and about 20 other hardened criminals across Nigeria pardon. Now, the nature of that pardon, I'm not too sure. Whether it was gazetted as stipulated by the Constitution, I'm not too sure. But I know that Shafiu and others were inmates and they were freed. The next thing I know, from research, was that Shafiu was actually hobnobbing around Kogi State Government House. He can be seen in the pictures I sent to you. I don't know if you can please upload them. You'll see pictures where Shafiu, there's one where Shafiu stood in a yellow shirt behind Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, right in the middle of security agents. And the other pictures there are Shafiu with the Chief of Staff, Asuku, Chief of Staff to the Kogi State Governor, Asuku. And then you'll see that they have a fairly good, cordial relationship for someone to mingle close to the security and co. So that means he's more of the person. Now let's talk about the report, which ties me to him and to the Owo massacre and to the Kuje prison break. Now, Owo massacre and the Kuje prison break took place on the 5th of June and 5th of July, respectively, if I'm not mistaken. And on these dates, I was actually in the US. I was in California because I left a day after my primaries, which was on 30th of May. And I only returned to Nigeria on the 20th of August. Now, at this time, at the times of these attacks, Shafiu was with Yahaya Bello. He was in Government House almost every day. He was living in the house of the Chief of Staff. So if anyone is to be responsible for these massacres, for the massacre in Owo and the Kuje prison break, it should be Yahaya Bello that should have questions to answer in conjunction with the Chief of Staff himself, because Shafiu was with them. They released him for prison for God knows what. And then, but moving back again to the few weeks leading to the Trademore arrest. Mind you, all this information I quickly gathered immediately.
Natasha, yes. Please, can I interject? So I want to get some things right.
Yes.
You said Yahaya Bello issued a pardon for somebody that was in a federal prison in Kuje.
Yes.
Is it possible? What's the possibility of that?
Yes. Shafiu.
He issued a pardon for somebody that was in a federal prison in Kuje.
Assume.
Yeah, go ahead on that.
Well, I even got to know that he was on death row. I got to know that he was even a death row inmate. And here it is. For someone who is a death row inmate, the best a governor can do is to put a pardon to reduce him from being on the death row to life. I don't think a governor has a right to reduce an inmate from death row to outrightly being free on the streets. Are you getting it? If he probably was serving term for shoplifting or other crimes, then he can be freed to the streets. Or if it's manslaughter or some other defensive murder charges. But for whatever reason, I got to know he was actually a hardened criminal on that row. And Yahaya Bello freed him just before the elections in 2019. Yes, so why he was freed and the nature of him being freed is best for Yahaya Bello to answer.
No.
And so let me take you. Do you have more questions?
Yeah, I have more. So I just wanted to get that part right.
Go ahead.
I just want to get that part before you go ahead. So, but Kuje prison is not in Kogi State. So how can the governor of Kogi State issue a pardon for a prison in Abuja?
You know, that's the thing about Yahaya Bello. He has a way of getting the ills done using the network. And I think we should also, this question also should be thrown at the prison wards and guards. And I'm actually surprised at how he can have such powers. And mind you, it's not just only Shafi. He went round the prisons in around Nigeria and released hardened Abira, particularly people from our own tribe. He released them. So the nature in which the release happened, I think it's best to ask the prison services. Why should a governor have such an inmate with such a record released? Well, that's best for them to ask. I hope you would do justice to this matter by inviting the Kuje prison services and Yahaya Bello himself and Asuku, the chief of staff himself, to question. You should question them on this. Because if we get to the bottom of this, then you begin to know why we do have such high rate of criminality in Nigeria. You know, you begin to wonder why. But let's fast forward. He was pardoned, as Yahaya Bello did in 2018, and I believe the pardon means all track records were erased. He was being a free individual to forge a second life, a second chance in life. But then let's talk about the trade more in just a few weeks before. And I got to know that barely a month ago, the governor called on Shafiu again to embark upon a series of attacks and possibly kill myself and my fellow PDP candidates and even some party chieftains in the state to have them killed. But Shafiu turned that down. He refused, and some other, should I say, political thugs refused to yield that call. And that actually infuriated and annoyed Yahaya Bello. Now, Shafiu did not end at that. He and other young men in Kogi Central put together a project called Say No to Violence and Thuggery. Now, those pictures got to me 2 days ago. Rufai, if you don't mind sharing those videos, you will see Shafiu and the other young men wearing the T-shirts. There's even the picture of Shafiu granting an interview to AIT, speaking and calling on all the young people who have made themselves available to be used as thugs by the politicians to desist, to stop. He told them there was no good to that end, and he called for peace so that Kogi State and Kogi Central in particular, will not witness the amount of bloodbath that it did in 2019 elections. This call for peace was taken round the traditional rulers in Ibero land, mosques and churches. That extra angered Yahaya Bello, because Yahaya Bello realized that the only way he will be able to win this election is through violence. And he now seeing before him that all these boys that he used at the last elections have now turned their backs on him, have now decided to be better citizens, turn a new leaf. Where was he going to turn? So, yes, sir.
Yes. Let's try to interrogate some of the points you have made. As a lawyer, I'm sure you know very well that a governor, not being a judge, not being the president of Nigeria, not being a member of the Committee for the Prerogative of Mercy, cannot, from Kogi, his own state, go around prisons in Nigeria to get Ibira people released. It's impossible, practically, because the process for getting people released from prison is a matter of law, and it's in the Constitution. Number two, you have also, on this program, made very serious allegations that speak to the integrity of persons. You have more or less said Governor Yahaya Bello wants to kill you, and kill people around you. That's a very weighty allegation, because yes, you could be sued for that.
And I'm standing by that.
And, yeah, you could be sued for that and asked to provide proof. And being a lawyer yourself, you know that allegation is weighty. However, let me just point out those two. The third point is that it's been alleged that you were very close to Governor Yahaya Bello up to around the 2015 general elections. And then
a month ago.
Up till a month ago, and then you fell out, and now he's on.
No, what did you, sorry, I didn't get that part.
2015.
He was, the gentleman in question.
No, that you and Governor Yahaya Bello were friends at a point.
Oh.
And that, due to disagreements.
We weren't friends at a point, and it was just a 2 months, should I say, political agreement whereby I was told to join the party if I wanted to advance the advocacy for Ajakuta, that I had to stop granting interviews and seemingly attacking the government over its projected sale of the steel complex, and that if I wanted to make an impact, I needed to join politics and become a legislator, and through that, I'll be able to make necessary reforms and call the necessary attention to the steel plant. And that was why I joined APC then. And pretty much whatever happened was just with maximum 2 months, because I pulled out of APC then into SDP because he told me clearly that he had his chosen candidate and that I was not going to get a chance.
Okay, you are saying...
And he wasn't going to grant a free primary, so he told me to his face. To my face, rather.
Well, let's resolve this quickly, because we still need to talk about your plan for the election, your campaign, your agenda for the people of Kogi Central. Now, you are saying Safiu, the terror suspect that Kingsley Fanwo, the Commissioner for Information, referred to in the statement he issued on Sunday, is close to the governor. It's an agent of the governor. But that statement by the state government is saying that, in fact, you and your husband are the ones promoting Safiu, and that the security agencies will need to call you in for questioning, along with your husband. That's what the statement by Kingsley Fanwo said.
Sir Ruben, let me take you back to the first question where you negated the fact or the possibility of a state governor releasing prisoners. Nigeria is a country where the impossible happens. If things were being done according to the books, according to processes and regulations and the Constitution, then we wouldn't be such a failed country that's pretty much crawling. A lot of things go wrong. People with the slightest authority maximize the evils around. So, like I said, I would really, really want to know, because definitely Safiu was in Kuje prisons, how he got out, how he started hanging around the governor and doing his biddings. It's left for the governor to answer, and the Suleja prisons to respond. Now, back again, please permit me to speak on the connection which I believe is contained in the statement. Now, after the, after the call for the Say No to Violence project, which Safiu and his group had, I got to know that there was serious threat to his life, so he had to run from Kogi State to Lugbe. That was where he stayed until his arrest. But then, on Wednesday, before, that's 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays back, I also got to know by people close to Yahaya Bello that he had gotten a search warrant from the court to search my premises in Kogi State, that's my house, and my campaign office alongside the premises of some PDP chieftains. And his intention was to search. In the process of searching, knowing that he's going to storm the venue with hundreds of policemen, there's going to be some pandemonium, and then they will quickly plant evidence. And then he, before the cameras, including Arise, channels, TVC, all of that, will then show the exhibits, and then he would then call for my arrest. So he was planning already to storm my residence, plant evidence, and have me arrested. The moment I got hold of that, the party itself wrote a petition to the DSS and the Inspector General of Police, and we have that here. The petitions were submitted before the Trademore incident. They are acknowledged, both of them here acknowledged, one to DSS and one to the Inspector General of Police, notifying him of this. So, but then we submitted the petition to the Inspector General of Police by 9 a.m. in the morning of Tuesday. But that very day, by 4 p.m., we got to know about the Trademore incident. Now, the Trademore incident, even though it was published on the papers on Thursday morning, it was actually an event that took place on Tuesday evening. That's what I gathered. So pretty much, like I said, I have no links. Personally, I have not met Shafiu, but it's Shafiu's right to choose the political party if he wants to be part of. I believe his only offense here is the fact that he decamped from APC pretty much 3 weeks back into PDP. And for Kingsley Fowler to tag me as the sponsor of terrorism, I don't know if Shafiu is a terrorist. If he's a terrorist, that means Kingsley Fowler and the government of Kogi State should know better, because the incidences that I'm being tied to actually happened while Shafiu was with them. Do you understand? I have not met with him, neither am I in any way affiliated with him, other than we belong to the same party. That is if Shafiu is even a registered member. But like I said, what I would like to do is, what I would like is, if the security agencies are going to call for me, as of today, I've not been invited by the DSS over these allegations. But if they do invite, I would love the Ayabelo to also be invited. I would love Shafiu to be brought to the table as well, and also the Chief of Staff, who actually even made an audio. I sent the audio to you last night as well, Mr. Rufai, whereby he admitted that the Chief of Staff to the Kogi State Governor admitted releasing Shafiu, admitted giving him 500,000 naira for his wedding, admitted also giving Shafiu 500,000 naira to set up his business. And his anger was that, having done all of this, why would he leave the APC to PDP? And he also threatened him at the end of the audio. Okay. So I know, I don't know if you'll be able to post this video on your site, but this now connects that his arrest.
One thing is certain, the other part too, must be given a chance to be able to balance this out, effectively. And
yes,
we will also, ensure that the other part gets a chance, because like Dr. Vat said, I mean, these are very weighty allegations, and we will want to see the facts as regards all of this matter. But you have stated your own side, of this back and forth, and based on that news story, that was reported as regards the connections between you, terrorism, Shafiu, and all of that. So with all of this now...
Mr. Rufai, can I just say something before I forget, please? Please, I'd like to say something before I forget. It's also important to state, because having gone through this the past few days, that nothing should happen. Shafiu should not be killed. Whether he's a terrorist or not, he should be granted, should I say, protective custody, so that he would then speak about all that he knows. He should not be silenced. I believe Shafiu's voice will be very necessary in opening all the evils and the manners in which some of these vices are done, these criminalities are done. So please, I'm calling on the DSS, because I know he's now with them. He should please not be killed. He should be saved. He should be allowed to speak. He should be interrogated. And all those he's going to mention, if, well...
Natasha, we can't tell the DSS what to do. The DSS will do their job. That's why Department of State Security. But I'd like to ask you, in all of this, campaign starts pretty much right about now for you. Have you been able to go back to Kogi to campaign?
Yeah.
When did you go back to Kogi?
No, I haven't gone. I'm still on maternity. I'm waiting for my baby to be 4 months, which is going to be in a few weeks. But I intend to go home probably towards the end of November. But that being said, I give kudos to the party structure in the state and my aggressive campaign team, because they've been carrying on activities on a weekly basis. As a matter of fact, ward meetings are taking place. There's been several walks in my candidature, and the response has been amazing. So yes, I'm actually excited to go back. I recently released my manifesto, which narrates on economic development and social justice. Amongst the projections will be my voice being led to the Ajakuta Steel Company and Itakpe Iron Ore to ensure that it's revived, because there's been a lot of stories back and forth. Today we hear that the government is paying off $496 million debt to Global Steel, which I'd like to put on record that we do not owe, and we have never owed them a kobo. So now that I heard that $250 million has been settled out of that, so the question is, to who? Who has been paid the $250 million? So, well, I hope it's not a situation of some capital flight, but yes, I'm going to use my voice earnestly to ensure that Nigeria is industrialized, that that steel plant is revived, that Nigeria for once picks up its footing as a country that is more productive and as against being reliant on importations. We're going to have lots of jobs. That's my earnest dream. Lots of jobs, generate revenue, and save our country. Thank you.
Well, now that you intend to, join your supporters in Kogi Central to continue with the campaigns, do you have any apprehensions? Because, you are in the PDP. You have a sitting APC governor against whom you seem to be on a warpath, if I may use that expression. Do you have any anxieties that you may not have, the free space to be able to engage, with people in your constituency? Because I imagine that the governor will say, okay, let's see you win that election. We also have an APC senatorial candidate in that same constituency. So do you have any apprehension?
As a human being, I do have some concerns for my safety and that of my supporters. However, the desire to contest and win is greater than any fear that they might intend to plant. And I have already, and my party, we have notified the security agencies of the series of threats that the governor has made over the past 1 month. Not too sure if you got a chance to see the videos that went quite viral, where the governor, Yahya Bello, visited my hometown, Ihima, and threatened to cut off the fingers of anyone who voted the opposition. In addition to that, Yahya Bello also said that he promises to send to his mother's grave anyone who dare, any Ebira or indigenous of Kogi State who votes any other party apart from APC, that these people are going to serve as servants to his mother in the grave. That means he's going to kill them. He also said that the next election is going to be much worse than what happened
just a moment.
in
Just a moment.
2019.
Just
that the terror is going to be real.
Just a moment. These allegations are quite witty. And we don't want to be dragged into any legal tussle between you and anybody, because, we can't ask you right on air now to provide evidence. Okay, so if you could just moderate it, because the platform will not want to be dragged into any litigation on the basis of your claims. Okay?
Sir Ruben, I'm a lawyer, and I am very much aware of what I'm saying. I understand the implications of these words. And I'm telling you in affirmation that there is proof. he made these utterances in video. And he said that the next election is going to be of greater terror than what happened in 2019. And that this time around, he's going to lead the war. In my place, war is called Irachen. You know, that means the fire power. That's what he said, that he's going to hold it and that nobody holds the guns better than him. He made all these statements on video, and not just once. He repeated that statement up to 3 other times, and they're all in video. So yes, and that's it. We also wrote a concern to the security agencies and attached these videos. And yeah, I would hope, and I'm calling on all the security agencies and all the international observers that they just zoom in the searchlight into Kogi and call Yahaya Bello to order. I'm surprised that he's gone all out in such a hideous manner to imbibe fear in the hearts of people that he ought to lead and govern in peace and fairness. Yahaya Bello seems to forget that he's still